What is up, everybody? Welcome to the live. Today we've got the camera and the audio equipment figured out, hopefully, so not expecting any technical difficulties. But we're doing a live Q&A show today. If you have any questions about the Baby Maker, e-bikes in general, or just want to meet more of the team, we're here to answer your questions. Quick schedule today. We will have Troy come on to give a logistics update and answer any specific logistics questions, as he's the expert on that. And we're also having Sarah come on by special request. A mechanic, Mark, he'll be coming on after her. And a new member of FLX staff, you'll get to meet her just after Mark. That will be a little bit later. I will be going through the comments in the live chat. So any questions there we'll address. When people are on and they have their specific specialties like mechanic knowledge, we'll give them the mechanic questions. If there's any other general questions, we'll handle those after that guest leaves the show. So if you're waiting on your question, all of them will be answered before the live ends. All right, the very first question, and I'll give a quick recap too of the Indiegogo update if things get slow. But very first question, is Pete stuck in the UK but overseeing the Spanish operation remotely? I see there are a few minor quality assurance issues from this factory. Rather have a delayed bike than a rushed one. Would also be good to get a rough time frame for delivery of the 1,000 UK bikes. And Andrew's great question. So we are overseeing the UK operation remotely. It's tough for any of us to get out to Spain right now with the COVID travel restrictions. The first time that Pete went out, that was kind of a miracle that he was able to get over there. But myself, I would be there in a heartbeat if I can. Same with anybody on our team. We just literally can't travel to the country. So what we're doing right now is we're hiring somebody local within Spain to see if we can get them out at the factory and just be there to make sure anything that needs to be done to ensure smooth production goes on, smooth delivery of those containers that we're waiting on. Make sure that happens. Sometimes, you need somebody to run down to customs, do some paperwork, etc. So that would be a big help. We're currently working on it. Connie, and to answer your question on the time frame for those UK bikes, we're expecting to have them all out very soon. Just to give you some numbers to work with, our production facility in Spain, they can build about 30 bikes per day. So we're expecting that those first two containers are supposed to clear this week. And then that first shipment, they've said March 5th is the estimate for that to leave. That's going to have about 130 bikes. And weekly after that, we'll have about 130 bikes going out every week. So break that down, 30 times 1,000 divided by 30. That's about 30 days of actual production. Of course, it's going to be a bit longer than that, but over the next few months, all those bikes will be built and delivered. Connie Reese, question about a specific container. We're going to leave that one for Troy. We'll come back to that. Okay, Connie? RJBU, would it be possible to add automated shifting gear on Baby Maker 2.0, similar with VanMoof S3? Thank you. Hey, I'm not exactly sure what shifting system you're talking about. The Baby Maker does have a rear hub motor, so some people have suggested like a hub shifter, etc. We can't do that because that's where the hub motor is, the rear hub motor. An alternative would possibly be to put the motor in the front and then have a shifter in the back. The bike wouldn't be able to use the shifter, but you would be able to. So it's an idea we'll certainly keep in mind. Thank you, RJ. David, I know this question is not about FLX bike, but I saw the recent post on the Phantom VIP. When do you think that the boards are going to arrive to people in the U.S.? I was 28th the order. Hey, David, good question. That first Phantom shipment left February 16th. They generally take about 2 weeks on the water, so that's going to be the end of February, early March when it hits. Then there's customs. It's got to get to us and then go out. So we're looking at early to mid-March for that first batch of Phantoms. Norman, how many bikes left to be delivered in the U.S.? Norman, if you check out the last production update, we do give a status update with kind of a scorecard for every major location. And I'm going to pull that up right now. I think we're at 53% in the U.S. Let me double check that. 57% in the U.S. So over halfway done in the U.S. We got 43% left to go. We did have a bit of a lag because of the Chinese New Year holiday, which was the past 3 weeks basically, where both factories were shut down there. Now everybody's back at work as of Monday this week, so production is really going to speed up, especially for those US bikes, low volume locations as well. Evan, hi Rob, an update on Sterling Baby Maker with drop bars, please. Evan, great question. So in a previous update, we shared an issue we had with the hoods for the Sterling bikes with drop bars where there was a blemish on the hoods. We held off on production on those. We said we didn't want to ship you guys a bike that wasn't perfect. So we sent those hoods back. They're being remade. We've confirmed the sample, and we're expecting to receive the new hoods this week. That was the last estimate from before the holiday. We've got to confirm those dates, but it should be this week when those hoods get in. If not, probably next week, and production will continue on these Sterling bikes with dropper brakes. Norman says, I'm expected March, April. Is that still possible? Norman, I don't have any context on that date. If you got a shipping notification from us saying your bike's already shipped and that was an estimate given to you, then that's highly likely. Michael Garibay, +1 on the automated shifter on the Blade 2. Michael, give me some more details on which automated shifter you're talking about. If there's a lot of requests for it, we'll certainly look into it because we want to make you guys happy. Danny, the delayed containers for the UK bikes, has this also delayed the Europe bikes? Danny, it has. So all of those containers it's a mix to build both UK and Europe bikes. They're all built in the same facility. So there are 4 containers at the Barcelona port. 2 of them are supposed to clear this week, and the following 2 next week. We'll keep you guys updated on that, if that actually happens or not. We've got our fingers crossed. But that is a mix of UK and Europe components. Joseph, hello, Rob. In an update, you mentioned that you're about halfway through the bikes for the US. I'm number 6773 in Indiegogo. Any idea when I can receive my baby maker? I can't wait to ride. Hey, Joseph, we can't wait for you to ride either. I unfortunately can't give you an exact date or even a very close estimate of exactly when you'll get your bike. There's just too many variables in the process. We've got customs. I can tell you within the next few months, it's certainly going to ship out. But down to a month, that's hard. Even when the bike ships today from our factory, it's hard for me to say and pinpoint that within a few weeks of it arriving in the U.S., clearing customs, which is a big challenge sometimes, and then getting to your door. A big part of that is the current sea freight environment is just completely, it's been nuked by COVID. So over at Long Beach Port, for example, which is where we send all the containers, there is a field of freight ships, container ships, just sitting there parked, waiting to get a spot. Our last skateboard shipment from China, actually, they had to turn back because Long Beach, they couldn't get a parking spot there, so they had to delay the ship from even leaving because there were no spots available for a couple weeks. So that got delayed by 2 weeks. But anyways, Joseph, a lot of issues with the shipping right now, but the bikes will get out. They will get to you. Refugio, what is best for pedaling when battery is at 0 or drained? Turn off or leave on? Refugio, it doesn't really matter if you put it in level 0. There's so little drain on the battery, it won't really make a difference. If you leave it on in level 0, you'll be able to see the speed and stuff in your range when you're going. So it's not a big issue. You can do it either way. Clark Hyman, if we ride in levels 1 to 3, how long do you estimate the battery should last? Clark, there's going to be a big difference based on who's riding it, how you're riding it, what terrain you're on, how full the tires are, what temperature it is. So I can't tell you exactly what range you'll get. I could tell you what range I'd get in 1 to 3. It would be 30, 40, 50 miles even. We have a couple folks in the Baby Maker group getting over 50 miles in the lower levels. If you put it in a high level, of course, it's going to be a lot less than that. But let us know what you get in those levels. Are the fenders and other parts of the accessory kit on the way soon? Luke, great question. I will refer you to the last Indiegogo update. I know it's a lot to read, and we send them out every week. We try and give you guys as much information as possible. Kaylee and Troy have been working together to put these Indiegogo updates together, and there's a lot of information under the part where it says global shipping status. It says where we're at on the U.S. and all the other geographic locations. Under that, almost to the end of the update, it says accessories update, and that's where you can find the information on where their touring packages are going, how many have been sent to each location, and give you a better idea on when those are coming. Max Jameson says, my baby maker was due last October. Max, sorry about the wait. That was our best estimate when we made the campaign. Unfortunately, some of those shipped before then, some of those shipped after, and it's taken a little bit longer than we expected. So apologies that those estimates were not accurate when we gave them. If we knew then what we know now, we certainly would have given you a different date. But the bike is in production. It will be with you soon. All right, I've got a special guest here joining us, man of the hour. Troy is up to answer any logistics question, give a bit of a global logistics update. How are you doing, man?
I'm well. Good afternoon.
Good to have
Is
you
my
on the
volume
line.
good this time?
I think your
Oh,
I think your volume.
All right.
I'm gonna turn you up a little bit because you're the star.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. So we'll start with kind of the EU and UK. We had a web conference with them this morning. So we have containers that are still in bonded warehouse. We're working to get those out. Those are supposed to be released and should be to the factory on Friday. So we're still anticipating a delivery or a shipment to the UK on next Friday, a week from this Friday, 3/5. That's preliminary. That's what we think is going to happen, and then there should be a shipment every week after that. And what'll happen, roughly, the UK has about half as many bikes as the rest of mainland Europe. So what'll happen is there'll be one shipment to the UK and then two shipments to the Netherlands for fulfillment. So we've already shipped the first two to the Netherlands. Now this one will go to the UK, next two to the Netherlands, back and forth. Someone asked about 1,000 bikes in the UK. The actual number is 600. There's about a little over 1,100 in the EU, not including the UK. So what we have right now is 972 bikes in containers in customs. Well, two of them have cleared customs, two of those containers, about 559 bikes, and the balance are in two more containers. We have another 600 bikes in containers that are on the sea for March delivery, and then hopefully don't get held up in customs, and we'll move those through. So that's about 1,500 bikes that are already are either at customs or on the seas. We've delivered the 259 bikes in Europe right now. There's a couple of them still going out. People are asking, why are they still getting bikes? Why are they still shipping more? Those are actually deliveries that were delayed in Europe for multiple reasons. In some cases, the recipient delayed them, and then they're posting them to Facebook. Those are not new deliveries. Those are from the what we call NL2 shipment to the Netherlands for fulfillment. Let's see, next thing. Oh, important point I put at the top and I didn't even touch it. When you get address verifications, please look those over very, very carefully. We have some issues where people are updating their address or not, and in some cases not updating their phone number. So we've had some that we've had to reach out again because we didn't have a good phone number. We sent out address verifications, we didn't hear back, we don't have good phone numbers. So please look those over very, very carefully. They have your address, they have your phone number, and they have your bike configuration. You need to look that over, and you need to respond to us very, very quickly, and that kind of makes the whole process a little bit smoother. Okay, Australia, we still know about the toll issues. You're checking tracking. It doesn't look like it's moving, and then the package is showing up. Apologies, we've been working on this. It's not where we would like it to be honest. So um, we're still working on it. We're still trying to get the tracking a little bit better. We had one bike that had tracking that had not been transferred. That one got sent over today, or actually Wednesday, Australia time. So everything that has a tracking number should be in the system and moving. If you don't have a tracking number, one, your GST needs to be paid. So if you have not paid your GST, we had about 16 people who hadn't paid their GST yet. At some point, we get charged storage on these. If we can't fulfill them, we're going to probably jump over you and go on to the next person. I'm sure the next people in line will probably be thrilled, but you can pay your GST. Otherwise, you're going to kind of slide down the queue and wait for another shipment. So if you haven't paid your GST, like I said, there's about 16 people who haven't done that. If you have paid your GST and you don't have tracking, contact support. We do have some people who have changed names or who entered an order under a different name, and we're having trouble matching those up. We've done a pretty good job, but we had a couple of them I think we're still trying to chase down. So please get in contact with support. Let's see. US and Canada. I saw somebody say, what about fulfilling Canada? So between what we've notified, address and or allocated, when those go out, we'll be at 85% of Canada fulfillment. So 447 of 521 bikes. There are more address verifications coming out. So as you see those, I can tell you that the Canadian bikes from container 13 have been transferred to ground. They'll go LTL to Canada. So you'll probably start seeing notifications on some of those. I'll just give you a container rundown. Container 11 in and gone. C13 had a few U.S. shipments. Those are gone, delivered. The rest of them have been transferred to FedEx ground and are on their way LTL to Canada. C14 is at freight as of yesterday. It was unpacked and they have labels, so they're going to be labeling those and pushing C14 out. Most of those are Canada shipments also. Someone asked about C12. They said their blade is on there. That is, we're pending arrival at freight. That may happen as early as today or maybe tomorrow. We're just waiting. Again, the situation with the port, there's getting the ship in, there's getting it through customs, and then there's a trucker shortage also. So, but that C12. Oh.
Can you clarify what you mean by at freight? What does that mean?
Okay, so we do. Good question. So what happens is we work with FedEx, and the incoming containers are handled by FedEx Freight. So they bring them in. They what's called destuff the container. They pull all the bikes out. We provide them a label file. They sort them, label them, and then they transfer them to FedEx ground. So FedEx ground is what you're used to dealing with. Those are the ones who run all the trucks around. FedEx Freight deals at kind of the container and truck level. So there's two levels of FedEx. There's FedEx Freight, and then there's FedEx ground. So we talk about FedEx Freight. That is the freight warehouse where they take the entire container and they destuff it, label it, and then they have another container there that is going to the ground hub, with your bikes and with lots of other stuff that's coming out of FedEx Freight. And they're running multiple containers a day to ground location.
Thank you.
Did I get it? Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Good. I do this all the time, so I don't always back up on some of the stuff. So C12, yes, that one is pending arrival, maybe today or tomorrow. Like I said, your blade is in there. T1, which is the first container from the new plant, we're actually thinking that's probably going to push over to freight tomorrow also. And then C15 is import, and let's see, and that was import on the 16th. So usually the time we give from the time it gets into port is about 10 days to get to freight. So T1 and C15 both hit port on 2/16. So we're anticipating end of this week, maybe early next week, those will move over to freight, and we'll start labeling those and sending all of those out. So if you're keeping score, that's 874 bikes in about, and that's not including container 11, 874 bikes in about the last, in about a week and a half. That's a lot of bikes. So let's see. The good news is C15 also has touring kits. I know people keep asking about touring kits, so you're going to start seeing touring kits out of C15. There's also touring kits on C17, which is coming up. Let's see, C16 actually that'll be at port tomorrow. We're anticipating that will move through about a week of 3/8 sometime. That'll go to freight. That's another 212 bikes, so that gets you to about 1,080. All of those have allocations or notifications out. Don't lose heart if you don't have an address verification, because T2, T3, and C17, sorry to go by all these container numbers, those have not had address verifications go out. That's another 650 bicycles. So there's a lot more address verifications coming out and a lot more bikes coming out in the near future here. Let's see. And those verifications will probably go out end of this week or early next week. C17 will probably be the end of the week, and then T2 and T3 early next week. Let's see. And again, C17 has another almost 200 touring kits. So as your bike gets fulfilled, then we put it on the touring kit list, and we'll fulfill those also. Another LTL to Hawaii. So some of you Hawaii folks will be getting bikes. So we put another pallet onto a ship going to Hawaii. We've got some Alaska orders. I'm holding those. C12 and C15 have Alaska orders, as well as C13. We'll consolidate all those up and get those LCL to Alaska. And I think someone asked about the Sterling drop hoods. What I'd seen was that we were good to go on Sterling drop hoods, so we should be on production on those. So
Have we received those?
We have not received them. They're building them.
Got it.
Yep.
Cool. All right, couple questions for you, Troy, before Sarah comes in.
Yep.
Will all the EU bikes from now on be shipped with new displays? Do we know?
I don't know that.
Mike, we don't know that.
Yeah.
We'll look into that. Let's see. Next question. When will the next EU bikes be sent from the Netherlands?
So those are the ones that should be. The plan is that those will be on a truck out of Spain on 3/12. So a couple-day trip. They'll basically be the week of, I think that's 3/15, that you should have those get labeled up and shipped out.
Sweet. Would you bet your life on that?
No, I don't bet my life on anything except
Me neither.
Good health.
Great. So in Spain, the plan is 3/5, March 5th, the
Yep.
first container to the UK.
Right.
And then the following week, one to EU, and then we alternate, correct?
No, we go one to the UK and then two to the Netherlands. So
Because it's a 2-to-1 mix.
It's a
right?
2-to-1 mix, exactly. So we've already sent two to the Netherlands. Now, next one UK, next two Netherlands, the next one after that UK.
Sweet.
Again, that'll go back and forth, and like I said, it's real close to a 2-to-1 ratio.
Thanks for keeping it fair, Troy.
Yep.
All right. Chris Link says, you should fly quickly, our baby maker, Troy. You are Superman. Don't forget it. And Tim says, I keep looking to see if you've gotten any gray hair from all the baby maker stress. I don't see any unless you're dyeing your hair.
No, my gray hair unfortunately falls out. That's where my gray hair goes to the drain.
All right. Last question. Let's see. Okay. Richard White, I'm in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Got my notice to confirm my address last week.
Mhm.
Will hopefully arrive in Ottawa well before the snow clears. Great job, FLX team. Fantastic.
We're doing our best.
Thank you, Richard. John says, what about USA?
We are shipping bikes to the U.S. The thing is, if you look at it, the vast majority of the bikes were sold in the U.S. So that's why when you look at the percentages, two containers covered 97% of Australia. One container, actually a small container, covered 99% of New Zealand. It's a lot of bikes. The U.S. is probably, well, it's not probably, it's over half of everything we sold is in the U.S. So again, you bring in a 222 bike container, and it's about 5% or something like that of what we have. So it takes a lot of U.S. containers to get there. So we are, I think, being pretty fair in terms of we're trying, again, with the exception of the EU and UK, which again we're not happy with that situation. But the rest of the world, we're trying to take care of you. We're also trying to take care of the U.S. And we're again with the new factory coming online. Remember, the T1 is just the first container from the new factory, so it's going to pick up significantly. And hopefully, by the time the weather's good everywhere, you'll have your bikes. We're pushing as hard as we can.
Oh yeah. All right, Troy.
Maintaining quality.
Thank you so much for the update today. We really appreciate all your hard work and getting so many bikes to so many people around the world.
Doing our best.
All right.
Take care, guys.
Take it easy. Big round of applause for him. I'm slow with the sound effects today. Here we go. All right, we're back on track. All right, Sarah's going to be coming in a minute. I'll try and blow through as many questions as possible before she jumps in here. All right, where were we? Bondi Peter. Hello, Rob. Hello, Bondi Peter. How are you doing? Great to have you on. Just received my Sterling Pro. All good. Just had its first ferry ride into the city for work commute. What a blast. So fast. Hey, Peter, thank you so much for letting us know. Super exciting that you're enjoying it. And it's so cool to see all the folks in Australia receiving their bikes in the middle of summer there. Really awesome. Hi, Rob. I've seen several reports about too short brake lines on the EU Bullhorn Pro bikes. Thank you. We have seen a report on that. That's something we are investigating. We're working with our factory there. Very limited reports, one, maybe two, that I know of. So we are looking into that and confirming all the specs to make sure they are adequately long for production moving forward. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Please have a seat, Sarah. Sarah, how are you doing today?
I am good. I'm well rested.
How's your mindset out of 10?
I would give it a 7.
A 7. Why 7?
A little bit stressed out about some personal stuff in my life, but work's been going really well.
All right. Well, it's really good to have you on the live. And for everybody that doesn't know who you are, do you mind introducing yourself and what you do here?
Yeah, sure. So, Sarah, I have been with FLX for almost 3 years now. I am the manager of our rider support, so I oversee our team and, help with customer inquiries and all the back end stuff there. Fun stuff.
She does an amazing job too. It's the hardest job at the company by far. There's so many people so excited to receive the baby makers and really anxious to know exactly when it will arrive. And we haven't given Sarah exact dates for anybody because we can't do it. So she gets so many questions that she can't answer because she doesn't have the answer to. She's doing her best in overseeing the team and making sure you guys get as much information as possible without misleading anybody, correct?
Yep. Yeah. So it's really hard to make sure we're giving information that is, able for our riders to understand and not take it a different direction, and just giving out as much as we possibly can. We're not holding back, I promise.
What's been the last 3 years of working here? What are some things that you've learned? How has this role, I guess, grown you? My English is terrible.
Okay, I understand what
you understand the question.
Yes.
All right, you take over.
So there's been a couple of different things. So when I first started working here, I hadn't really done too much administrative stuff. So I learned a lot of weird things like credit card disputes. I didn't know anything about that or how those type of things work. So learned a lot there. I didn't know how to use Excel. Learned how to use Excel. That was pretty cool. And I learned a lot on how to communicate with people effectively, which has been a really great skill in my day-to-day life, and how to talk to people who aren't, happy. And so that's been, I think, the biggest thing that I've learned since I've started working here.
What is something that's helped you with communicating effectively with people? Like, any rules of thumb?
I try my best to put myself in other people's shoes and how I would like to be talked to by somebody in customer support. Like, I understand, that some things are really, really frustrating. So when I talk to our riders, I try and talk to them, like golden rule, treat people how you'd like to be treated. And that normally does the trick.
Hell yeah, awesome. Speaking of rules, do you remember the wall sit rule?
Yes.
I think we need to bring that back.
I don't know.
Can you tell everybody about the wall sit rule?
So one of Rob's biggest things in the office is effectively communicating with other people. And so when we talk to other people in the office or other employees, it's really important that when you talk about, when you're saying something to everyone, that you make what you're saying is really clear and add all the information that's needed so we don't have to go back and forth. And so if you say something that doesn't make any sense or you only add half of the needed information, we had to do wall sets. So it kind of varied on how much you messed up. But yeah, we used to have to do those all the time, or push-ups or burpees.
Yeah, 1 minute.
We've done all.
1 minute wall sits for ambiguous communication. I think we should bring it back.
We even did that during COVID. Rob would send me a message wall sit. I'm like, dang it.
Yeah, that was funny. Pictures at home doing wall sits.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if there's some questions for you in here. All right, Chris asked, good to see you again. May I know when low volume location countries can receive their bikes? Can I expect them next month? Chris, I believe, is in Indonesia, if I'm not mistaken.
So we don't have exact dates for our low volume region yet. I do know Mackie has been working really hard on that. At the moment, I don't think that we're looking at next month, but hopefully really soon. And we're working on getting more updates with more exact information on that. Like we were talking about earlier, we don't want to tell you things just to make you feel good or just make you excited. We want to give you accurate information.
Thank you, Sarah. We appreciate you for that. All right, let's see. Chris, good to see you again, Sarah. Please help me get both my baby maker bikes, Sarah. I'm nearly bored to death here and tried avoiding questions from my friends.
Okay. We are doing our best. I can't tell you exactly when your order is coming, but you know what? As soon as they arrive, I'll pick them up and I'll just walk them right over to you.
Heck yeah, that's funny. Sweet. Hey, any plans for summer? Last
This
question.
summer? Not set plans just because everything's up in the air right now, but I will probably go spend a week in Alaska with my family. That's like my main goal for this summer. And I also plan on spending most of the summer on my baby maker as soon as it arrives. I'm so stoked.
Hell yeah. Wait, what do you mean as soon as it's arrived?
Oh, I haven't gotten mine yet either.
Why don't you just take one of our customers' bikes?
Can I do that?
No. So Sarah is also waiting on her baby maker. She knows your pain. She's in queue. She's in line just like everybody else, and it will get here, Sarah.
Yeah, it will. And I don't even think I've been assigned to a container, but I'm patiently waiting just like the rest of y'all.
All right. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Bye, guys.
We appreciate you. Sarah is a rock star. She's absolutely killing it. All right. I'm going to catch up on the questions before our next guest, who comes in 2 minutes. I'll do my best. All right. Robert says, I was originally quoted for October 2020 delivery. Now it's March 2020. I've not received any email to say my bike is on the water. Is it still possible to get it in March? Robert, if you did not receive a shipping notification for your bike, allocation notification, I would venture to say it's probably not going to arrive in March. You certainly would want to check your spam just in case anything got missed. But if you didn't get it, it probably will not be here in March. We will be shipping out a lot of bikes over the coming weeks now that both of our factories, which build for the U.S., are online. So keep an eye out for those and for our next Indiegogo updates as well. Those are every Tuesday. Joseph thanks for the info. I completely understand the delays. Will the display light up at night, or do I have to press a button? Joseph, does it? I think it's an OLED display, the recent one, so it's always lit up, if I'm not mistaken, on that. Refugio, when battery is at 0 or drained, pedaling is hard, a feeling of resistance. What's happening and what's best for speed? Leave on or off? Refugio, great question. It is a single speed bike, and the gearing is more towards the higher end of the spectrum. So when you're at a stop or you're trying to go up a hill from 0 miles an hour and you start going, it's gonna be tough to push. It's just like driving a car and you've only got fourth gear. You try and put it in fourth and go up a hill, you're really going to be bogging the engine. It's going to be happiest when you're at a higher speed. So, tips are to keep your pedal cadence up, keep your speed up, especially when you go up a hill. If you bring some speed into that hill, it's going to feel a lot better. Apart from that, it's going to feel similar to a single speed bike like a fixie, geared maybe a little bit higher. Bondi Peter, I was one of the 107 bikes held up by toll in Sydney. Bondi, I'm glad it finally got to you. Tim, we got that. That was for Troy. Chris Aguilar, I got my address confirmation on 216, so am I correct in thinking that my whip will be on either a C15 or C16? Chris, there we do have a table on the Indiegogo update that shows you how to associate the date with the container. So I'm seeing C15, 16, or T1. So probably one of those ones that are basically with us right now, clearing customs, arriving at our distribution center. Ray, I've just ordered my baby maker last week. The gentleman that helped me said June, July would be the likely delivery date, but he also said that it's moving faster and that I might see it earlier. Can you confirm? Ray, I can confirm that that's certainly a possibility. I can't tell you exactly when you'll get it. June, July seems like a healthy estimate right now. I wouldn't be able to say one way or another until we get all these bikes through, but I am a betting man. If I had to bet on it, I would bet for that to happen. Tim Ferriss. That's one of my favorite podcasts, by the way. Tim Ferriss with an E. You've got a very similar name. I really appreciate the weekly updates. It gives me hope that one day I'll be cruising on my baby maker ordered in July. Tim, certainly, you can have complete confidence that you will be cruising on your baby maker very soon. All of the bikes will be delivered. So please have no anxiety about that. The baby maker is coming. It will be with you very soon. Connie, once labeled at freight, when should I anticipate a shipping notice sent to me C12? So, Connie, once your bike goes out from freight, we get the tracking numbers back. We input them into our system, be it Indiegogo or the website. I believe you ordered on the website, so we put it in there, and then you get an email with that information. So it should follow the shipment of it in just a day or two behind. All right, we do have a guest here. Come on in, Mark.
Hey everyone.
How are you doing? Oh, let me turn your microphone on. Whoops.
Oh, there we go.
If you can get pretty close to that microphone, that would be huge.
For sure, for sure.
That'll put you in focus too. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. Tickets have gone up, so I'm kind of jamming on those, and I got a few service bikes I'm working on right now.
All right. So for everybody that doesn't recognize you from your last time on here, could you give us an introduction? What you do here?
Yeah, sure thing. So my name is Mark. I'm one of the bike techs here. I'm more on the mechanical side of things. I'm not really up front where the shop is. I'm more towards the back, so I'm kind of doing my own thing. I do a lot of assembly, a lot of service, like hydraulic brakes, drivetrain adjustments, and basic safety inspections and all that. I'm also the person that you'll be mostly talking to when you submit technical questions or mechanical problems to our customer support email. So I'll be talking to you with that also.
Heck yeah. Mark does a tremendous job, and he knows a ton about bikes. He came in here knowing more about a lot of things than even we did. So really, really awesome to have him on board. How long have you been with us now?
I want to say 6 months.
He's been with us about 6 months. And what's your favorite snack?
Cookies.
Cookies?
Chocolate chip cookies, yeah.
Wait, do you like them crispy or chewy?
Crispy. Not a
Oh,
big fan of
man.
chewy.
Oh man. All right. If we split a bowl, you get all the crispy ones. I'll take the chewy. All right. Somebody had a mechanic question. I lost the question, but it was, is there a walk mode on the baby maker?
Yeah, so if you hold down the down arrow key, then as soon as for or if you hold down for roughly 3 seconds, the wheel should engage. I think the fastest it'll go is roughly 3 or 4 miles per hour. But yeah, there is a walk assist.
What's that useful for? When would
Um,
you use that?
in case for whatever reason, if you have to get off the bike, so the bike is a single speed. So when you start slowing down, it's really hard, especially if you're not really the best at balancing the bike, to really go at a slow speed and stay on the bike at the same time. So a lot of people tend to get off the bike and just walk it. Also, if you're going up really steep hills or if you're walking the bike through really crowded areas, that walk assist really helps out.
Hell yeah. Great function. Somebody asks, has anybody tried riding the bike on a trainer? I'm riding over the winter regularly on Zwift, and I'll throw it up on Zwift and check out the power output in a very controlled environment. Have you seen that? Have you done that?
I know about Zwift. Unfortunately, I am a huge cyclist, but I'm more on the mountain bike side of things. I don't do too much road bike at all. But I am familiar with trainers. There's lots of different types. There's rollers where the device isn't really attached to your bike. Your bike just sits on it, and you actually balance and ride the bike on it. There's also rollers where you attach the back wheel to it, and there's two types. There's through axle, there's quick release, and then there's bolt-on axles that a lot of rollers are compatible with, and then there's direct-mounted trainers where you remove your back wheel, and there's a cassette on the trainer itself, and then you attach the bike to it. That's more accurate in terms of watt input and all that. So yeah.
So if somebody wanted to, they could put the baby maker on a trainer, yeah?
As long as the trainer is compatible with bolt-on rear axles, then yes. And a lot of trainers that aren't have adapters for them.
Awesome. And by the way, guys, I'm just giving Mark the mechanic related questions here. If you've got other questions, I'll be handling them in the off time between guests. James says it was easy to put together, as you said last week. Your how to assemble YouTube video was really helpful. Friday, we'll test it out on Dumbarton Bridge in the Bay Area. Tested it in the parking lot. Awesome. What are some things that people should look out for when they assemble a new bike?
So one of the most, it's not necessarily a requirement, but it's something that's highly recommended, is adding grease to your bike in areas that not necessarily like require, but have a point of failure or a chance where it could seize. For example, the seat post. So if you're the only owner of the bike, or if you're the only person that will ride the bike, if you don't grease that seat post, it's going to be in the same position for so long, it most likely is going to seize after a year or two. So you want to make sure there's some grease in there. Also, installing pedals seems to be one of the number one issues that customers have when assembling a bike from box. So adding grease to the pedal threads will help prevent from stripping the threads on the pedal or the crank.
What's another way to screw up the pedals when you get a new bike? Very common mistake.
There's cross-threading, and there's also trying to thread the wrong side pedal. So on the pedals themselves, where the threads are, there's an R or L, obviously, for left or right. So that's one thing that you have to look out for too.
And which one's R and which one's L?
So left is the non-drive side, and what that means is the side that doesn't have your drivetrain or your chain or belt on it. And then the drive side is obviously the side with the drivetrain on it.
Great. So when you assemble it, if you're sitting on the bike, the L1 left side, as if you're sitting on the bike. Very common mistake. Please don't mess that one up. All right. Couple more questions for you, Mark. Peter says, great bike, thanks. Arrived yesterday. Through axle. If I tighten it as per video, there's significant brake binding. Any thoughts on that?
So brake binding, as in sometimes the way the forks are manufactured, they're not completely, I guess, straight. So when you tighten the through axle, you'll kind of see the caliper move a little. So when you're trying to readjust the front caliper, you have to make sure that the through axle is already tight enough to spec, and then readjust the caliper. So that's normal in most cases.
Great. So to readjust that caliper, how would they go about doing that?
There's lots of ways of doing it. The really easy way to do it is that there's two bolts that keep the caliper mounted onto the fork. If you were to just back those by, I want to say, a full turn, That will give the caliper enough room to move around, so you have play in the caliper. And then whichever one you're working with, just pull the corresponding lever. That will realign the caliper with the rotor. And then as you're doing that, and then with one hand, as you're pulling the lever with the other, you want to retighten those bolts. Do keep in mind, it doesn't always work. About half the time it does. You have to also understand that, rotors, even brand new ones, can be slightly warped, even by a millimeter or two. A lot of it really has to do with preference too. Like for me, if it's rubbing just slightly, I'll just call it done. But if it's a constant rub, and that's when I want to really adjust it. So that's one way of doing it. If that doesn't work out, then you're going to have to kind of fine tune it. And the way I like to do it is have one bolt kind of mostly tight and then the other one completely loose. And then using your fingers, you can kind of adjust it left to right. And then once you get one side done, and then you do the other. Having a flashlight shining on the other side of the caliper so you can see the space in between the rotor and the pad also really help out.
Awesome. Hell yeah. Okay, final question from Connie. What's a good bike repair stand to hold the weight of an e-bike? What do you guys use in the shop? And she's got a Blade 2.0, so it's not as light as a baby maker.
Most bicycle stands are going to be fine. It's really hard to distinguish which one is okay for your bike, so you really have to do a lot of research on the stand and the manufacturer. Personally, working in this industry for as long as I did, I trust Park Tool to the teeth. I use a ton of their tools, a ton of their bike stands. All of their products are fantastic. I like to kind of compare it to price. So for example, if you have a really heavy e-bike, let's say the Blade 2, that's $6,000, you're not going to put a $6,000 bike on a $50 bike stand. That wouldn't make any sense. I mean, you can basically assume that stand's not going to lift up or support that bike. So it's always for something like that, I always recommend the price range of between like $150 to $300 around there. But the Blade 2, it is a heavy e-bike, but it's not that heavy. It's a hardtail, not a full suspension bike, so you should be fine.
Sweet. Okay, one more bonus question from Chris. As one question from the Facebook Owners Club, what should we do if the rear wheel is rubbing the rear frame? He's referring to that question we talked about yesterday in the group chat.
Yeah, so there's 2 points of contact for the rear wheel onto the frame. There's the two nuts, and this is the baby maker, right?
Yeah.
And then you have your two tension bolts as well. So for example, you have, so imagine like this is your axle, and then it goes into the frame straight like that. These tension bolts make sure that the axle is nice and centered. So for example, if you were to tighten it like this, then the wheel would be askew and it would hit the frame. So you have to make sure that those tension bolts are nice and centered.
Yeah. So I think that one, Chris, that you saw is the left side nut needs to be tightened. First, he should probably loosen both of those nuts on either side.
Is this that one
Yeah.
thing? Okay, so what's going on with that is if your nuts aren't tightened to spec, 35 newton meters, if I remember correctly, what could happen is that once you brake, essentially when you brake, your wheel is being separated from your frame. That's what happens. So if one of the nuts are loose, whichever it is, typically, I think in this case, it's going to be the drive side nut. If that's loose, then your wheel's going to tilt out like wherever that nut or the position, and that happens when it's not tight enough. So 35, or in most cases, it's shoulder tight. But if you want to get specific, 35 newton meters.
Sweet. So they got to adjust the tension first, right? Make sure it's in line, and then crank them down.
Correct. So yeah, the tension adjustments first, and then you torque them, and then you torque the nuts down.
Awesome. Hell yeah. All right, Mark. Thank you so much today for answering all the questions that I couldn't answer myself. Really appreciate you.
Yeah,
you're doing
sure.
an awesome job. Big round of applause for Mark.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we do have one more guest here, and I'm falling behind in the questions. I'll try and rip through some of these while we wait for the next guest. What is going on? All right. We've got a very first time guest on the show.
Boy,
Alyssa, how's it going?
it is going well.
Do you mind introducing yourself and giving us a fun fact about yourself, what you do here?
Yeah, so my name is Alyssa. I am Rob's assistant. Oops, sorry. I've been here for about a month, a little over a month now. And fun fact about myself, I'm originally from Michigan. I know I'm not in focus. Uh-oh. I'm originally from Michigan and moved to San Diego a year ago. So
Heck yeah. So what are some of the things that you're helping out with here?
I help out with just a lot of miscellaneous things. I deal with a lot of the recruiting. We're looking for someone in Spain right now. If we're looking for new interns, I deal with that, doing interviews, searching through resumes. Other than that, a lot of miscellaneous things.
She she's a glue that holds things together here. Really doing an awesome job, and she's been a total godsend for me. Being able to spend a little bit less time in emails and admin, paperwork, etc., and more time talking with you guys. That's part of the reason why we're able to do these live shows, because she's freeing up my time to focus on what matters, and that's you guys. So, how is the hiring process going in Spain? Where are we at on that?
It is going okay. I mean, we just started on, I think, Saturday or Sunday. We just started looking or started a posting for it. So we have a few candidates kind of interviewing, and hopefully we'll have someone quickly to kind of get things in shape in Spain and help out where we need them.
Awesome. How do you like the products? Have you spent some time on them?
I have. I actually have not ridden one of the bikes yet.
Alyssa.
I know. It's crazy. I've only ridden the electric skateboards from Miles, but I don't know. I haven't had time to ride a bike, I guess.
Dang. What is your weekend assignment every weekend?
To get more comfortable on the electric skateboards. And I need to eventually be able to go like 20 miles an hour. Right now, I think I was at about 15 miles per hour this last weekend, so I'm getting there.
Heck yeah. What's it like working here? How's the team? Is it what you expected? Is it terrible? What do you love and hate about it?
It is a lot of fun. All of my previous positions were corporate type, like companies that have been in existence for 20, 30 years, and they were very set in their ways. Here, it's a very fun atmosphere. Everyone's very young, and it's a relaxed atmosphere, but yeah, everyone knows what they're supposed to be doing, and they get stuff done.
Awesome. All right, last thing. Any fun plans that you're doing this year once COVID kind of dies down and you can do things again?
I'm not sure. I was hoping to go to Hawaii in April, but that's not happening. So I, as of right now, don't have any plans. Maybe I'll find time to go to Michigan and see my family, but I'm not sure.
Awesome. Can you say bag for us? Plastic bag?
Plastic bag.
Okay. All right, you don't have it. In Detroit, they say bag. I got my bag here. It's pretty funny.
Okay.
Missing the accent. All right, Alyssa, thank you so much for joining on the live. You're doing an amazing job, and really appreciate everything you do around here, and can't wait to have more progress on the Spanish hire.
Yes. Well, thank you.
All right, big round of applause for Alyssa. Thank you very much. All right, that's all the guests we have for today. I've got a lot of catch up to do on these questions. Alyssa's an absolute rock star. Thank you for coming on the live. And I'm going to find where we were at in the questions. Okay, we had a lot of questions about the trainer. We did go through most of those. N. Andrews says, is Daniel Harling okay, or did he get his bike this week, as he hasn't posted any comments on Indiegogo this week? I'm sure your support team miss him. Thank you, Andrews, for bringing that up. Yeah, I believe his bike was scheduled to arrive with the Canada bikes. He had notifications and everything, but he was quite anxious to get it and very vocal about it. So hopefully he's got the bike and it's fulfilled his expectations. John, thank you. Let's see. Alan says, FLX Bandit $14.99 again, please. Would change the industry again. Hey, Alan, thank you for the suggestion. Recently, we did have to raise the price on most of our models. There's a big import tax when we bring them into the U.S. now. It was originally 0% last year. Now we're getting taxed an incredible amount, so we're kind of splitting that between taking it out of my paycheck and also raising the prices. So hopefully that's going to end soon, and we can bring prices down again. Richard, that question about walk assist was not in response to your question. Somebody else had asked it. Ding, yes, you did miss Troy's logistics update. If you scroll back to about the 10-minute mark on this live, you'll be able to watch that. A lot of great information from Troy. Richard, we don't know of anybody who has used the Baby Maker on Zwift to see the power output. But if we do hear about it, I'll share that with you in a future live. Emmanuel Pineda, hello, Rob and Sarah, watching from the Philippines. Hey, great to hear from you. If I'm not mistaken, did you order one of our bikes from the first campaign in 2016? I hope I'm not mistaken on that. We had somebody in the Philippines where we had to hand deliver the bike because we couldn't get it shipped there. So I believe Michael went out and carried that bike with him basically to the Philippines. Pretty cool. Derek, when will you send the next shipment to Hawaii? Thank you. Troy updated on that. I think we have just sent one. Don't quote me on that, but if you scroll back to Troy's update at about the 10-minute mark, or look at the recent Indiegogo update, you should find some up-to-date info on that. Drawn from the water. Hi, Rob. It's me again. You've never met me. You've never seen me. I want to tell you and your audience there is a difference between male and men. Not all male are men. Thank you for that. Drawn from the water. That was very profound. Mark says she was going to do it, Rob. I'm lost in context on these. Doing my best. Drawn from the water, you've come on here week in and week out for the last few months, mitigating damage, firefighting. You have not given up. You've been trying to go way beyond the extra mile. You have been frank. You have been honest. You have taken stick for months on ends, although much of it is out of your control. You have not been beating around the bush. You have been honest. You have stood strong, defended the truth, and ensured your word is upheld and your promise is delivered. Not every male can do this. The kings and presidents and emirs of this world would go into hiding or go on the offensive. You haven't. You have stood strong and presented yourself in front of the world as a real man, ensuring your promise is fulfilled. Thank you, Drawn from the water. That's very, very kind of you to write. I swear that's not me. I didn't write that. Really flattering. We're doing our best. Nobody's trying to sugarcoat anything or mislead anybody in any way. We get the information. As soon as we know something, we share it with you guys. We just want to get everybody their bikes as soon as possible. We're doing our best, and they'll all be delivered very soon. Over halfway there, so progress will continue at a rapid pace now that our 2 facilities are back in line in China, and I'm looking forward to sharing more updates with you guys. Thanks again, Drawn, for the continued support. Really, really appreciate you. James says, I flew up to 22 miles per hour in like 80 feet. It was awesome. James, that's really cool. It's all about speed. That's kind of why we started the company. We wanted the bikes to go faster. We love cycling. We wanted to do even more, even faster. Ding says, I will rewind. I look forward to my Baby Maker arriving sometime soon in the UK. Thank you very much, Ding. Can't wait to get it for you. Peter, morning, Rob. Great bike. Thanks. Okay, we covered that, the through axle question. Chris, we got your question. Connie got it. Wow, we're almost to the end of the questions here. So I'll be finishing off these questions and then ending the live. If anybody has any last minute questions, please send them now as we're just a couple minutes from the end here. Richard says, just buying the new Specialized e-bike, the output power and ANT Plus. Are you considering this in future bikes? Richard, at the moment, that's a non-priority for us. We'll certainly add it to our wish list of things, but we do have a lot on our plate, a lot of development items. We try and keep the bikes as simple as possible, so as little things to fiddle with as possible. I know a lot of folks do like a lot of data. We like this. We like the simplicity. Just go and ride. A lot of people want to do away with the display altogether and just have turn it on, basically go get to where you're going, focus on the road, and keep going. So it's a constant balance between complex and a lot of things to deal with and just enjoying the ride. So we'll keep that in mind, Richard. Connie, Park Tool is legit. I'm willing to pay for what will hold it. Awesome, Connie. Chris, already ordered my Phantom Rob. Hope I can receive it quicker. Unlike Baby Maker shipment, please. Yeah, Chris, an update on that. We're currently working on the international orders of the Phantoms. That is our sister company, Miles, which makes the most awesome electric skateboard on the market. It's called the Phantom. They recently ran an Indiegogo campaign for that as well in November and shipped a little bit over half the boards. Much smaller campaign than the Baby Maker, so they're going to go out a lot faster, Chris. The international boards are going to be going out over the next couple weeks. That's all of the international boards at one time, and then the final U.S. boards very soon thereafter. Rob, hey Rob, it's Rob from Cali. Curious, are any of your bikes in stock? Rob, yes, we do have some bikes in stock. If you go to our website, I can't remember offhand exactly which models, but if you scroll through those and look at the different SKUs, it will tell you which one's in stock. If you can order it, that means it's in stock. Any plans for mid-drive motor? Yes, Rob, that most of our bikes are actually mid-drive motor. We've got the Blade 2.0, which is just incredible. That's a higher price point. It's the best bike we make. Then we've got the F5 Trail. We've got the Step Through, the Roadster. Those are all of our mid-motor bikes, if I'm not missing any. And then we also have the Gladiator and Bandit, which are hub motor bikes like the Baby Maker. John McKenzie, recommendation for a really good lock. Kryptonite has a pretty good reputation. They have different ratings for their lock, so you want to get, don't cheap out. Don't get the cheap Kryptonite lock. Get something that's close to $100 or even more, but they make some thick ones. Another alternative is to go to Home Depot or Lowe's, and they make these hardened, galvanized steel chains, super thick ones. You can get one of those and a lock to just lock that together. Hollywood on lock. If I buy a bike today, how long until I can be riding on my sledgehammer? It depends on what bike you're talking about. If you buy one of our bikes that are in stock and you're in the U.S., it will just be a matter of days. Usually they ship out in a couple days and take a week or two to get to you. That's bikes that are in stock. It's not the Baby Maker. Don't freak out, anybody. We're going through a huge back order of Baby Makers right now. So Baby Maker estimates, if you buy one, that's going to be summertime. If you buy one of our in-stock bikes, it will just be a week or two. Alan Santos, do you have a store in San Diego? How can we test drive the FLX lineup? Alan, great question. Yes, we do have a store in San Diego. If you Google us, FLX Bike on Google Maps, you'll be able to find our store. We're open Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can come in and try out any of the bikes and see if there's a good fit for you. Kevin, can I test ride the Baby Maker in San Diego? Yes, you can, Kevin. We do have some Baby Makers at our shop. Not for sale. We don't have any Baby Makers for sale at the shop. You can pre-order one, but you can test ride one of our demo bikes at the store. Chris, thank you, Rob. Please come to Indonesia if possible, and I would like to treat you to dinner and talk about the proposal if you still remember it. Hey, thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate the offer, and I'd love to get out to Indonesia sometime. Maybe we'll meet in Bali. Ryan, do you recommend removing the seat and just sitting on the seat post while I ride it? Also, just want to say thank you for all the hard work you and the team are putting in. Ryan, whatever makes you happy, if that's what makes you happy, man, go for it. Chris, love you, Rob, and God bless you and FLX team as always. Alan, can we buy bikes cash at the store? Yes, you can, Alan. We do take cash at the store. That's as good as cards. So come on into the shop. You can bring cash and walk out with a bike if we've got it in stock. All right. I think that is all the questions we've got for today. All right, everybody. It was so great seeing you on the live today. Thank you so much for coming on, tuning in. I know it's a lot of information, a long live, so thank you so much for your generous time today. We'll continue pushing out the weekly Baby Maker updates on the Indiegogo campaign page. If you're not reading those and you have questions about the Baby Maker, please read through those updates. There's a load of information every week, and we're also doing the lives every week, basically until all the Baby Makers are delivered. So again, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.